Well, parents, I need to tell them it's not a death sentence. People forget, I've said this on a lot of podcasts, there's a whole spectrum, not one autism. So, like, there's this population of autism where they have the mindset of a 3-year-old, right?
Yeah.
They can never brush their teeth on their own. They can't go to work. There's a lot of support they need,
Yeah.
which is true. And there's some people like that. They forget about people like myself who can go to college and do work. Why are you ignoring us and thinking we're incapable?
Yep.
And even if we were those with the mindset of 3-year-olds, we're still capable of doing something.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
I mean, we're not bedridden. Can we get up in the morning still, no matter where we lie on the autism spectrum? Yes.
Welcome to Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast, where we hear real stories from real people and we tackle all sorts of fun topics in the areas of business, marketing, entrepreneurship, mindset, the arts, and, well, life itself. It's amazing what you will pick up. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back, everyone. It's episode 233 of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast. I have a fantastic guest here today. The sensational Sam Mitchell is with me all the way from the US, and we're going to be chatting about autism and how autism rocks forever. How you doing, Sam?
Well, thank you very much. Good to be here, my friend.
Awesome. Now, of course, Sam does lots of different things. He runs a successful podcast called Autism Rocks and Rolls. He has autism and his podcast has exploded to become very successful, over 18,000 downloads. Just some of the big names on his show include Armani Williams, the first NASCAR driver to be open about having autism, and American Idol rocker James Durbin, who has autism and Tourette's, Dr. Temple Grandin, professor in animal science at Colorado State Uni, an autism activist, just to name a few. Sam is also a motivational speaker, entrepreneur, writer, and blogger, and he published a TED Talk called Souled Structure. Love it. He has made it to the top 10 in the People's Choice Podcasts Awards, placed second in the state of Indiana for the JAG Entrepreneurship Project, was selected as the best business at the CEO trade show in Indiana, and is in the top 200 podcasts in all of Canada, while also being a current Davey Award winner. So Sam is a high-functioning human being on the autism spectrum and is on a mission to show people that he is not broken, doesn't need to be fixed, and that there is no normal in this world. He wants to celebrate the successes of all people. He embraces who he is and feels that everyone should do the same. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, Sam. Man, you've been busy.
Oh, good Lord. You don't know how busy I am. I'm just starting back up with college. It's getting a little more busier.
Absolutely. Wow. So, mate, tell us a bit more about you, your background, all these amazing things that you do.
Okay, well, I run the podcast, as you mentioned, Autism Rocks and Rolls. It's a podcast about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. I ran it since October 2019. Some of my amazing guests I've had are, as you said, Temple Grant and Mick Foley, but through the podcast, it's grown so much. I developed sponsors, a board of 8. I'm an event planner in the United States, and Indiana is where I'm from.
Nice.
And I've also done speaking engagements. I've spoken in Oklahoma, Orlando 3 times, Canada twice, Stewart, Florida, and Washington, D.C.
Man, you're doing fantastic, though. You're doing better than me. I want to speak like that.
I guess it's just a pot of luck. What can I say?
Yeah, well done. And how do you find all these great guests for your show?
I just ask. Like, sometimes I'll hear out through connections. Sometimes I've done my digging on them, and then I think, all right, they'll be a good fit.
Nice. And you just reach out to them, you DM them or something, and they just say, yep, no worries.
Sometimes I got to go through their publicist. Like, Kane was a big guest. He's the mayor of Knoxville County, Tennessee.
Wow.
And I had to talk to a scheduling team, and Kane looked into it, and he thought what I was doing was pretty cool, and he decided to come on.
Nice, man. Nice. And so why did you start the podcast in the first place?
It started, I joined my high school's media club, and I fell in love with it so much, I decided to start my own podcast. I didn't want to wait till college to expand the skills I already had.
Yep.
And that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born.
I love it. And so what made you fall in love with it? Like, what do you love about it so much?
Well, I mean, the editing. I like the editing.
Like
a
the
lot
editing.
of
Oh,
people
God.
are the odd ducks, but I'm one of those odd ducks who likes the editing. It's part of the ADHD. It calms me down a little bit.
Wow.
I suppose. And I also like the fact the podcasting community is very supportive. There's no competition in my eyes.
I agree. I mean, I was on a great podcast this morning with a fantastic podcaster in the US. We had an amazing conversation and it was extremely collaborative. Like the podcast community is all about let's work together. It's not about my show is better than yours or my guests are better than yours or my download numbers are better than yours. It's let's all work together. We're all in it for the same thing.
Right. No point of bragging about who's the better show.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
100%. And so, how many episodes have you done? I think you mentioned you lost count.
Yeah, I lost count, bub, but I've done 2 full seasons. I'm on my 3rd one right now.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. And how do you generally go about your show? Is it particularly structured or do you just kind of free flow? How does it work?
Oh, it's big time structured. So I'll usually pick the topic or the person I'm going to interview. I have an intro. Sometimes it's a certain intro, but then sometimes, a lot of times, if it's a person, I'll ask them their favorite songs for an intro and outro.
Cool.
And then I have to always make a disclaimer, tell them where I got the music from, the credit. I have a mission to stay in interview with everyone, which is the mission of Autism Rocks and Rolls, is to take the stigma off of autism and other conditions that many are disabilities. People on the spectrum are not broken and do not need to be fixed. Those with conditions or those want to be pitied, there's nothing to be sorry about. And then I also have a 15-second slot on my show, which is called Paid for the Following.
Yep.
I do some thank yous. And then I usually have an ad in the beginning, and then some content, maybe an ad in the middle, and then more content, and then an ad in the end. And then we're wrapping it up.
Sweet. And the ads like are sponsored spots. People are paying you to advertise?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that's fantastic. Well done. Outstanding. Amazing, mate. And so what do you want to actually do with a podcast? Obviously, it's to create awareness around autism, but anything else that you want to achieve with the podcast?
Well, I mean, I'd love to get it just where people are accepting of autism.
Yep.
They're not saying that, oh, I'm incapable of doing nothing.
Yeah. So just kind of bring more awareness and make it more mainstream.
Yeah, and more accepting.
Yep.
More accepting.
More accepting. Yep. Because I agree
It's
with
honestly
you.
so stupid. We had to have an autism acceptance month. It should be autism acceptance month all year around.
I 100% agree with you. To me, you know what? I was just about to say, like, normal is everything. There's not even a spectrum of normal. We're all normal. It's just we all have our own gifts and we all have our different strengths. And I don't believe that a lot of the time these days we're just labeling things because we need to find labels. But we're all here on this earth together and we've all got amazing different makeups and we're just all here sharing the experience. So, we don't have to have any labels.
I love that when you just said different makeups.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, no one was born the same.
Nah.
Despite the fact that you looking like Murph from Impractical Jokers, there is some differences on you.
That's right, man. We all these ingredients mixed up to make different dishes, and we all exist in the world, and we're all living and sharing the world together. That's basically it. Yep. But what do you feel autism has given you in terms of certain secret powers?
A creative mind.
Nice.
I probably wouldn't be able to do a podcast or come up with these ideas if I wasn't on the autism spectrum.
Right.
The ability to hyper focus. I mean, I'm a goal driven person. When something's going to get done, trust me, it's going to get done.
It's going to get done. Love it.
The determination. I'm not a person who likes to shut up and won't stop till I get what I deserve, in my view.
Yep.
And then punctuality. I don't like making a mistake at work. Yep. I had the privilege to do an internship at WQRK 105.5 in Bedford, Indiana.
Sweet.
And I loved it there, but I was very punctual. And I probably was terrified to make a mistake. And I think they saw that and they could see I was a very good employee.
Nice. So you have the ability to be super focused and super creative as well.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Do you explore creativity in any other areas of your life?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely a writer and I've wrote some blogs before. I just can't write all the time just due to getting busy.
Yep.
But I'll write a blog here and there. And there's about my life. And I come up with the ideas through music. Yep. Big music fan.
Yep.
I like rock and roll music and a big professional wrestling fan too.
Very cool. I can second you with rock and roll music, but I've never really got into wrestling.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. It's not everyone's cup of tea.
I love it, man. And so in terms of your podcast, do you always work with a guest or do you sometimes just do a solo episode? How do you generally go about that?
So the solo is an acronym I called APE. So the A stands for autism behaviors.
Yep.
A couple ones ago was an A, and that was about humor and how those on a spectrum perceive humor. And then the one before that was how we budget money, which I'm not the best at.
Interesting.
And then P is perspective or interview. So I've interviewed several people on the show. I mean, I've interviewed my latest one was with Jake the Snake Roberts from professional wrestling.
Wow.
But then E was entertainment. So sometimes I'll go out of the box and compare something to autism.
Yep.
I compared pinball to autism, airplanes to autism,
Really?
and one of my favorite things from childhood, game shows to autism.
Really? I love that. I love that. I'd love to hear a bit more about that. Like, maybe can you give us an example of how you compared one of those things to autism? That's fascinating.
Well, for example, one of them was The Price is Right.
Right.
And I compared The Price is Right to autism because of our struggle with budgeting money.
Yep. Yep. Makes
But
sense.
also, game shows gave me structure
Yeah.
because the Wheel of Fortune never changed its airtime. It's still running at 7 p.m. EST.
Is it? I'm surprised it's still running at all. It's still going. Wheel of Fortune. My God.
Yeah, I think Pat St. Jack's going to give it up, though, soon. He's retiring, but his daughter's going to take it over.
Wow. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Let's kind of move one step further. And I know that you're a big advocate of mental health in general, and that some of the speaking you do is about that as well. I'd love to get your take on mental health and some of the advice that you would give other people to maintain their mental health.
Right. So I'm a mental health advocate, and the best advice I can give is take time for yourself. I mean, as much as I hate doing it, it needs to be done. And I say I hate doing it because I have ADHD.
Yep.
And I cannot sit still for the life of me.
Yep.
I have a hard time with literally relaxing and watching a movie. Do it anyway. If not watching a movie, just get on your phone for a little bit.
Right. Just have a bit of distraction and then come back to it.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
But then, as you say, with things like editing and podcast production, you can actually focus for hours doing that. It's just so certain things just allow you to focus more than others.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Yeah? I mean, I'm the opposite when it comes to editing. I've done so many episodes and I started editing them all myself. Every weekend, all I was doing was editing. So now I start to outsource it because I just can't be bothered editing anymore. But let's explore that even further in terms of mental health and looking after yourself. What are some of the things that you think are really important to do that?
Well, I think what you need to do is not only just look out for yourself, but I mean, mental health advocate is to advocate for others.
Yep.
I mean, autism at the end of the day is a mental health condition, and it comes with other coexisting conditions. I mean, ADHD example, I have anxiety. Sometimes I wonder if I have an anxiety illness disorder. Not a hypochondriac, just terrified of getting sick, sycophobe as I call it, not a germaphobe. And it's real. The struggle is real. People need to see it. People still think we're being actors.
Yep.
No, we're not.
No way. Absolutely. You know, everybody's mental state is extremely real to them. And a lot of people just can't see what's going on behind the scenes. But do you advocate sleeping well, exercising, eating well, any particular regime that you think is important?
I think really what I advocate for is just kindness, not to judge someone based on their appearance.
Yep.
Have a conversation with them first and then see who they are.
I like that. Very, very cool. And so tell us a bit more about some of the other stuff you do in your business ventures. I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, I mean, the events is something we do. We just got done having a motorcycle poker run, and I just got the phone with a person who wants to partner with us. There's a potential we will be doing a polar plunge with them and having breakfast with Santa.
Polar plunge. So what's a polar plunge?
Apparently what you do is this is crazy, but I'm not doing it. I just hope I don't have to.
Yeah.
You get in your shorts or swimming trunks in the middle of winter.
Oh my
You
God.
take a nice dip in the coldest water alive. For us, it'll probably be a lake.
That's crazy. It's almost like, you know, the new trend now is ice baths. Everybody's taking ice baths.
Well, I'm just saying that's a one cold ice bath I'll have to take if I do it.
I much prefer my hot shower. And so what are you going to be doing at this event? What are you actually putting this together?
Well, this is our first one, so we don't know. Like, we talked to the lady literally yesterday,
Right.
and we haven't planned out the big events yet. That's one coming up.
Right.
And if I had to guess what's going to happen is take the dip sometime, but then at this other one with the breakfast, we're going to have pancakes and waffles, and then the kids can take a photo with Santa, whoever Santa is.
Hey, cool. I love it. So it's going to be for people of all ages,
Yeah, I would say so.
everybody, families, whatever.
Yep.
Yep. Just start building on the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I'm not much of a Christmas spirit guy. I mean, I like to give some stuff clearly, but and I'm not the most Christmas spirit-ish guy. Like, I don't like holiday cookies and all. I really like them. It's just that I don't get into it much.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to dress up as Santa just because of that's just who I am. It would be kind of fun. So I'm hoping maybe I can pull the strings and they'll let me be Santa this time.
Yeah, why not, man? Try and put in your dibs early.
Yeah, I got the belly for it, so it works.
I love it. Have you got the costume?
I haven't got the costume yet. They don't even know about this part yet. I
Right.
haven't yet told them yet.
Awesome. So you set up events like that, and any other events that you're setting up?
Well, we had a motorcycle poker run in August, so
Wow.
bunch of Harley Davidson motorcycles came by and took on a nice little scenic run. My dad's a motorcycle guy.
Oh, really?
Grew up,
Cool.
so makes sense to
Wow.
have one. We always have a gala in April, which means just a big fancy dinner with
Yep.
keynote speaker typically or something.
Yep.
Usually I speak too. And then I just have some speaking engagements coming up. I'm coming to Daniels, West Virginia in November
Really?
and possibly Houston, Texas.
Awesome, man. And what are you going to be talking about?
So Houston, Texas is an autism conference. The behavioral health conference is for parents and caregivers.
Nice.
So I'm going to give those type of people some advice.
Yep.
Cool part is with Daniels, West Virginia is on keynote.
Wow. How do you feel about keynote speaking? Do you get nervous on the stage?
Nah,
Not
I've
at all.
been so many times in my life at this point, I don't really care.
Wow. And so, in terms of parents, what advice or what insight would you give parents of people with autism or anyone on the spectrum from your experience?
Well, parents, I need to tell them it's not a death sentence. People forget, I've said this on a lot of podcasts, there's a whole spectrum, not one autism. So, like, there's this population of autism where they have the mindset of a 3-year-old, right?
Yeah.
They can never brush their teeth on their own. They can't go to work. There's a lot of support they need,
Yeah.
which is true. And there's some people like that. They forget about people like myself who can go to college and do work. Why are you ignoring us and thinking we're incapable?
Yep.
And even if we were those with the mindset of 3-year-olds, we're still capable of doing something.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
I mean, we're not bedridden. Can we get up in the morning still, no matter where we lie on the autism spectrum? Yes.
Love it. Anything else that you'd give parents in terms of advice?
And then for parents, I would also say you got to be patient with them.
Yeah.
No matter what, even if they're not the most patient person, be patient or it's going to be a dreadful day for both the.
Yeah. Too true. And now, what about your TED Talk? I heard you've done a TED Talk.
Yep. Called soul structure.
Soul
And that's why those
structure.
spectrum need structure.
Love that. And so, how did that come about? Did you approach them or they approached you?
Well, I got nominated a couple of times. We had to do it virtually due to COVID,
Right.
but it's still qualified as a TED Talk.
Hell yeah.
And just in January, and then it went great,
That's
and
awesome.
it's now out and about.
That's awesome. I've got a good friend that's just done a TED Talk, and he said the whole process was really, really grueling. Like, it's not easy to get through that whole process to get a TED Talk out. There's a lot of preparation and practice.
But I got nominated twice.
Wow. But tell us a bit more about soul structure. What was that actually about?
Why those on the spectrum need structure. It's crucial to have structure in my lifetime, or I wouldn't understand life. It's just knowing when things are.
Yeah.
I mean, I know at 5 a.m. later this morning, I will be on an interview.
Nice. What are you studying at the moment?
Broadcasting.
Are you studying broadcasting?
Yes, sir.
Wow. And so for how long is that course?
This is my senior year of college, and I'll be wrapping it up soon.
Sweet. And so that's where you're learning how to edit as well and play with all the tech?
Yep, some stuff. Audacity is what I mainly use. I'm learning a lot about Adobe. I learned about a lot about sound frequency yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I learned about Razor and how to cut video, how to incorporate video, how to make a music video. I did that.
Oh, sweet. When I first started getting into podcasting, I started playing with Audacity, but then I don't know how I stumbled onto Pro Tools, and I had to get someone to teach me how to use it. And so I can do some really basic editing and cutting in Pro Tools, which is fun. But nowadays there's all this great AI software that does all this great stuff for you. It does it better than me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. One of my favorites is when I have to record here, Adobe's Sound Enhancer.
Yeah.
It really makes the voice of you and your interviewer a more of a professional sound. And when you get rid of background noise. So if I made like that,
Yep.
it would get rid of it.
Definitely. Yep. And then there's the video side of it as well. Do you do a video version of your podcast or just audio?
Mainly audio, but I'll just upload the raw version of interviews. So Jake, this example, his interview is up, audio, the edit, but there's the raw version that's just video and all of my mistakes. So you can hear me stumble there.
Sweet.
But also you can see what he looks like too.
Nice. Yeah. Great. Love it. Well, Sam, that's absolutely brilliant, man. I just love your energy. I love all the things you do. I love the fact that you have embraced all these different parts of your life and you're exploring them all and you're really learning and growing and you're playing with all the technology and it's just awesome. It's inspiration. So I hope that a lot of people can take note and take inspiration from all the stuff that you're doing as well.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. Thank you, Darren. And hope if you listen to this, you could take something from me if I was helpful for everyone.
Absolutely. How can we find you if people want to find you?
Your favorite media platform.
Yep.
So you can find me on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube. Not a hard guy to find. If you Google me, something will pop up.
Nice. Do you have your own website or anything?
Yes. My website is autismrocksandrolls.com.
Sweet. Well, Sam, now I always like to give my guest the last word. So what would you like to leave the audience with today?
Thank you and have a nice day.
I love it, man. Very nice. Well, Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll make sure that we get this out in the next couple of weeks and everybody can celebrate all the great stuff that you do. And I wish you a great day, mate, and we'll catch you very, very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Playing with Perspective, the Suspended Animation Podcast. If you would like to join me as a guest on the show, I would be delighted to collaborate. Just reach out via www.suspendedanimation.com.au. Also, remember to click on the link in the show notes for loads of great podcasting resources, webinars, courses, and opportunities to help you on your podcast journey. Many of them free. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.